Basically just the history of the names not being on the jersey, and starting football back in the late 1800s. All those teams before them didn't have it, and we need to represent for the guys that came before us. And the last 3 years were special and needed to have the names on the jerseys, but we got to get back to some core values as to who Penn State football really is, and what a historic moment today is for us.
Talk about how important this is to the former players. It's probably maybe more important to you guys than it is to the current guys, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. When you're a young guy that's on a team, you don't realize history as much. You don't realize until you're removed from the program some years and you come back and you're a little bit older and a little more mature. But I can't tell you how many text messages and phone calls I've gotten today from former players and Letterman, just ecstatic. Guys making comments like, I can finally pay my dues to the Letterman's Club now. Now I'm welcome back. I feel like I'm connected again, and just things that they're excited, they're pumped up, and we're just trying to get back to all those values.
Were you ever riled up about that, Terry? I know some people were, some people weren't, but when the names went on as a former player, what was your take back then?
No, I never really had an opinion one way or another. I'm clearly happy that the names are off the jersey, but when the names went on, I clearly understood why they did that. That was the roughest part of our career and history, and it was needed at that time to create an identity for those guys to stick together and battle through and keep us afloat. Keep this program surviving, and through it all, we never had a losing season. So hats off to those guys that did a tremendous job.
Some of the Letterman you talked to this morning, and just sort of what was maybe the most touching one to you, or the most memorable conversation you had about this morning?
Talked to O.J. McDuffie, Troy Drayton, Darren Perry, Sam Gash, Keith Gogan, some other guys. Talking to O.J. McDuffie, he made I think Coach talked to you guys about a story that, he texted me and we're going back and forth, and he made the comment, he said, man, I'm so happy, I'm gonna come up there next weekend. So, guys are just ecstatic. And this is a big moment in our history, and we're just trying to get back to championship caliber football and those core values of just playing for Penn State, and who cares what the name on the back is, who cares who scores a touchdown, who cares who makes the tackle or the sack. Let's just play for Penn State and have great fun and success that way.
What impact, if any, do you see this having on the recruiting aspect, Terry?
Well, you never know how young people will respond to it. Some will embrace it, and clearly some will say, well, I want that flash and flare, but that's not who we are. And so that helps us separate those kids as well, because this is who we are and this is who we will be going forward.
I think a lot of people probably associate the no names with Joe Paterno. Was the significance of it explained by him back in the day, and kind of what was his message as to the significance of it the first time around?
Well, back in the day, it was never a topic. It was never an issue. The only issue that I remember from my playing days were the black shoes. Do we wear white shoes, and why are we wearing black shoes when nobody else is wearing black shoes? And clearly, I appreciate it today. Back then I was young, dumb, still chewing bubble gum, but now I understand it. As a more mature adult, I'm happy and thankful that he created this tradition. I'm happy and thankful that we're back to this tradition. We've got 125 years of history to be proud of.
Troy Drayton once said, way back a couple years ago, that it's going to be hard for him to watch Penn State games when you guys had their jerseys on the names on the back of their jerseys. But when you talked to him this morning, were there some other guys kind of in that same boat that just really had a hard time? You mentioned guys said they could pay their letters and dues again.
Yeah,
why do you think that was?
There's a lot of guys, because the jersey they put on didn't have a name, and we didn't care about the name. Troy Drayton was a walk-on. He earned his way the hard way, and had a great pro career. And there's several other guys. There's tons of guys that felt that way. But the message today is we're all unified again. We're all back on the same page. We're all one. We all understand it. And I'm sure there's probably a handful of current players that are kind of like, man, I wish my name was on there. But in 5-10 years from now, when they're removed from this, they're going to appreciate it a lot more.
What does it mean to you to be kind of a liaison to some of the old school players? As the only former player on the staff, to have people reaching out to you, what does that kind of mean to you?
Well, I'm appreciative of my role. I'm appreciative to Coach Franklin to bring me back, to be the only Letterman on staff. You know, he confided in me and asked my opinion several times in this situation, and you know, I'm thankful that he gave me that opportunity to express my opinion. You know, I'm happy to be that guy that links to the Letterman. You know, I'm a proud Letterman, and it's a proud group of guys. You know, we're a great fraternity that looks after each other.
Being that liaison, what has the balance been like being part of maybe the modernization of the program while still sort of finding ways to embrace, you know, maybe what it was like when you were here and in the time before that?
Well, I mean, you know, I think a lot of the guys understand that you have to change with the times. You know, back when I first got to Penn State, all we did was run the football. By the time I was a senior in 1991 with Tony Sack at the quarterback, then we started to throw the ball. So you have to adjust to the times, otherwise you get left behind with the times. So, you know, those guys understand that. So that's never really been an issue or topic, you know. But the uniforms, you know, they're iconic. You know, when you turn on the television, you know who Penn State is. There's no guessing. There's no who's that team. You know, there's certain other teams searching for an identity, searching for 100+ years of history, but you can't just create that. You know, we have that, and we need to relish in that moment.